Hi guys, Beanie here. Lately I've been really into playing Pokemon TCG Pocket. There are some really awesome cards created by different artists that are in the game. And I've been lucky enough to pull some quite rare cards myself, including a Golden Pikachu, Golden Mew, and even some of the awesome immersive cards they have in the game. With all these awesome cards in the game, this had me thinking. More Pokemon deserve having full art versions of their cards. That is why I will be making my own full art Pokemon TCG cards. I know that with time, we will be adding more full art cards for various Pokemon into the game. And I know that the physical cards have a lot more variety and have full art cards of way more Pokemon. So this video is just for the fun of imagining what kind of cards we will be getting down the line. I don't know a better place to start than making a full art card for my favorite Pokemon, Jolteon. On a side note, I started this drawing before the Mythical Islands packs were released in the game, which released a full art Vaporeon card, and I hope I can release this video before they release a full art Jolteon card. As usual, I started with a sketch. This was a really tough process since I wanted the pose to be dynamic and powerful. I didn't want to look at other Jolteon cards while making my design in fear of being influenced by other concepts, but I did look up references of Jolteon. I think it is important in order to get it right and do the Pokemon justice. From cards I have seen in the past, one thing I remember about them is that they usually have some kind of jumping or running action, which makes sense since Jolteon is meant to be a fast electric fox, and this is what shows its speed most easily. For my concept, I wanted him to show that he can be intimidating and stand his ground as well. One way I achieved this is by planting Jolteon's front paws downward. To be content, I've had to go over the line art quite a few times. It is still something I'm not super great at, and I even refined it a bit more once the entire card was done, just to be sure I was at least happy with the end result. To add to the dynamicness of the pose, I decided to create a curved horizon for the background, which also helps focus on the subject and makes the whole composition feel a bit more natural. I definitely wanted to include some sort of lightning effect to the card, and my first thought was to have it coming from above as a lightning strike. But this left the composition a bit awkward, so you will see me change this later. For blocking in color, I still haven't found the optimal method with Krita, so I just painted in manually. I know there may be a better, more efficient way of doing it, but since my line art isn't too great, I can't seem to get using the full tool correctly. The advantage I do get for painting it in manually is that it helps with warming up and I guess muscle memory when drawing, but it definitely takes too long and I'll have to figure out a different method for future. When thinking about colors and the fact that Jolteon is a bright yellow mon, I kept it simple and went with a complementary purple for the background. Sometimes the simplest bit of color theory goes a long way. And even though it's an overused technique, I think there is a reason. And that is that it just works. Going back to the idea of adding in lightning, I decided the second best option is to add in lightning emanating from Jolteon's body. But in order to not take away from the rest of the drawing, I decided to have it just come from the paws, also strengthening my previous idea of showing that empowering stance I was trying to create. One thing I struggled a bit on was the lighting. Because I decided to make the background so dark, it was difficult to decide on how I wanted the Jolteon's lighting to be. I started by adding a bit of purple from the background with a soft brush onto the Jolteon. But the bright yellow didn't really blend too well with the purple, so I'll make adjustments later. I ended up deciding that lighting wasn't too important for this, since I could always go for a more illustrative style, which even some official TCG cards go for. I want to say I'm mostly following the rule of cool for this art piece. I basically asked myself, does it make sense? No? Well, is it cool? Yes. Then just go with it.
Nice.
At this point, I started to add more elements to the background, like buildings and details. This was a good idea for some later decision making and to tie the whole concept together. I tried some techniques that I always see in art shorts for making it easier to do backgrounds, such as using shapes, copying them and warping them to create windows. My technique definitely isn't perfect, but honestly it got the job done and made my life so much easier. Me mainly being a pixel artist, I usually find backgrounds rather easy to create, but digital art is a whole other ballgame when it comes to making backgrounds, and I found it quite challenging. From here on, it is mostly just adding loads more details and refining what I've already got. I'll try not to bore you with the details. I try to make every decision intentional and to really just tie the whole art piece together. With the art complete, there was one major challenge I had yet to face, and that is to pray that the art I've just created would work on a TCG pocket card. In order to create the final card, I googled some images of TCG pocket cards to bash the card together with some image editing. I took the silver border hollow Jolteon card that already exists in the game and took the information like the name, attack, HP and more. I also stole the full art border from another card to finally create my very own full art Jolteon TCG pocket card. I truly wish this card was in the game, but I know with future updates we will get a full art Jolteon card eventually. Well, what do you think? And what cards would you love to see in Pokemon Pocket TCG? I know I've only created one card in this video, but I will consider doing multiple cards in future videos if this video does well. So please do leave a comment saying what cards you would love me to create in future. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed working on it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. Subscribe if you would like to see more, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.